What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the More Than Philly Sports Network for a special edition of the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show. We are here today for the Super Bowl. I want to start off by, first of all, congratulating the Philadelphia Eagles for making it this far. It's been a very exciting year in Philly sports, whether it be the Eagles, the Phillies, the Union. Both those teams obviously having a little bit of a disappointing end to their season, but an unexpected run for the both of them. But today we have another one with the Philadelphia Eagles against the Kansas City Chiefs tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4:30 local in Phoenix, Arizona. As always, I am joined alongside my co-host, Gavin Toney. Gavin, we've been through a lot with the Eagles. And before I give you a chance to talk, I have a gift for you today. Because first of all, we were here when we broke the news for Doug Peterson being fired. We were here to live react after Nick Sirianni. So naturally, I have a gift. I love my Phillies hat, and I apologize for my hair. But Gavin, before we do get started, I do have to bring out
iconic. It has to be here.
The visor, the Nick Sirianni visor, a little bit of messy hair on top. I mean, it's been a whirlwind. It's been a lot going on. We were here. This show, really, the energy for it has been thrust forward by a Super Bowl run, and really just from Doug Peterson to Nick Sirianni. Just kind of continuing to move it in terms of my hat game. But I think really what has happened is that we have just been through a lot. And we went from 13-3 to 9-7 with Nick Foles, 9-7 with Carson Wentz. Just a disastrous season that next year after Jalen Hurts was drafted. We didn't know why. We were here talking about that. Why was Jalen drafted? Do they not believe in Carson Wentz? Can Carson Wentz be that quarterback? We reported on all those games in 2020, which was just an absolute disaster of a season. Howard Roseman was the name. I think Howie has earned his nickname. Gavin, can we get confirmation? All right, good. It's been a lot, and I'll give you the floor here in just a sec. But I feel that this is a well-earned. It's been a short turnaround for the Eagles. I think a lot of people deserve credit for it. But I do have to say, if we're back, we're here. It's crazy. 5 years actually feels pretty quick, all things considered, because it's not every year you get a chance to be in the Super Bowl. We waited so long for a very long time to do this. So this is an incredible opportunity for the Eagles franchise to continue to make their mark as one of the most successful NFC franchises here in the 21st century. They've already done that a lot during their time. So, Gavin, floor is yours. What did the Eagles do right over the last few years, and how excited are we to be here today for this Eagles team?
Well, first of all, Zach, how you doing? Hope all is well on your end. And congratulations on the company for those who don't know, Zach is a businessman. I say this all the time, but his company is about to go, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's about to go official in the UK, right?
Correct. Yep.
Congratulations to you, sir. We have to talk about that a little bit later, because for those who may or may not know, that's big things. To answer your question, what the Eagles did well is staying relevant during the downtime. One bad year and then one mediocre year. Let that sink in. The bad year was the Carson Wentz year. That was when we were trying to figure out what was going on. Yeah, a lot of injuries. Don't forget. Yeah, a lot of injuries. A lot of guys in and out. The offense doesn't seem as it is, but it's how quick they're able to rebuild. Zach, I know I can't snap but it was just like that. It was 1 year, and the next year we were kind of like, well, what's the identity? It was quick culture shock change. You fire the quarterback, you get rid of the quarterback, which arguably your best friend. You get rid of Doug Peterson, which everybody's like he's a year or two removed, a couple years removed from Super Bowl. But no, it was a micromanaging. Also, you get a new breath of fresh air. You get a whole new offense. You redesign yourself. You reinvent yourself, and you stick to running the football. There's a stat that you brought up back in our analytics class that said when the Eagles running ball more than 25 times, they win. This is a running football team. You have one of the best offensive lines. So if you go back to that year where they didn't win, what was they doing? They were throwing the football. It looked like Carson was trying to play more hero ball, other less than actually playing to the strengths, which is running the football. And then defensively, the dinosaurs. We were talking about, Zach. I remember you said tear this defense down from the ground up and rebuild. You bring back a guy in Fletcher Cox on a 1-year deal. Brandon Graham comes back highly motivated after the ACL and Achilles injury. You get a guy like Darius Slay motivated again, and then the young talent around the rebuild. So it was just all about staying relevant and believing. Last year was a good year to see what we had. It was a good punch in the face for Jalen Hurts. It was a good humbling experience. Like, yes, you guys made it to the playoffs, but you didn't do anything. What do? You go out, you say, okay, wow, this kid is really talented. Then you go out and you go grab an AJ Brown. Devontae Smith improves. You continue to build offensive line. Kenny Gainwell, the emergence of Kenny Gainwell. Miles Sanders looks better this year. The defense, James Bradbury, or as they call him, Ballberry. You got Kazir White, TJ Edwards. Like the list goes on and on about this team. But to staying relevant is the number one key to this whole thing. Is they were never down. They were down, but they were never out. That's what I want to say.
That's a good way to put it. I'll keep it simple. I think it's all about the line, O-line, D-line, and that is where the Eagles' strength has been. Jason Kelsey, Lane Johnson, Isaac Samuel have been there for the last 5 years together as a unit. The only major difference is at left tackle, where they brought in a bunch of different guys. They tried out, of course, drafting Andre Dillard in the first round. That didn't work. He's still on the team, and he still fills in from time to time. You have Landon Dickerson on the right side, who's done really well. And you have Jordan Mailata on that left side as well, who's just been an absolute machine. And the one man who's not talked about enough is Jeff Stoutland. He's an individual who has been incredible for this team. He is somebody that has actually been here through the entire process, developing offensive linemen. O-line has never been the issue, really. It comes down to play calling. It comes down to quarterback play, temperament inside the locker room. But one thing we talked about, and I'm not sure if we can bring it up or it should be brought up, but a couple of years ago, The Athletic came out with an article talking about Howie Roseman, talking about Jeffrey Lurie, their micromanagement, and their obsessive game plan focus and involvement with Doug Peterson. I'm not sure how much truth is in that story. We talked about it back then. It made sense that it happened. Winning does fix everything. You tend to not look at these things, but kind of looking at the future, you want to make sure that these are things that aren't going to repeat. I think it's safe to say that both Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman have learned from their experience after the Super Bowl, and that's what's allowed them to really get to this point. They made some really good draft picks, made some really good moves. A.J. Brown, phenomenal pick, trading that first pick away to Tennessee. I was totally fine with that. I thought A.J. Brown was a phenomenal pickup. Devontae Smith obviously was a really, really good pick as well in the draft. They got Jalen Reagor off the books, got Carson Wentz fully off the books after this season, no longer paying him whatsoever. Now we have our focus on Jalen Hurts' contract. But tracing it back to the Super Bowl, tracing it back to what took them here, two key elements, of course, their lines, both offensive line and defensive line. And they've had an incredible defense. Their defense has been superb all year long. I know we get on Jonathan Gannon an awful lot about his soft zone defense and giving up big third down plays. Those are true. Those are issues. But overall, this team has played phenomenal. You go out and you get James Bradbury. You go out and you get a guy in Darius Slay 2 years ago who stuck through the tough year. It's the best cornerbacks in football, in my opinion. It's the best secondary in the league. Maybe the Ravens are better when healthy, but overall, I think that they really are the best secondary. They're developed well. Their safeties are not the best. Their linebackers have gotten better, though. And overall, their defense has just been superb all year.
I just want to say this, sorry to interrupt you. The C.J. Gardner-Johnson pickup, now you could look at all the additions the Eagles made. Outside A.J. Brown, that has to be the best pickup. Second best pickup. Has to be. When he was there, dude's an absolute ball hawk. You can send him on the blitz. You can put him anywhere. I know the free agency coming, he's going to demand a lot of money. Find a way to keep him here. He sets the tone for that secondary with him and Bradbury, and there's like that's a no-fly zone. It gives your pass rush time, like Hassan Reddick. I gotta give him that's another guy. Like this defense is filled with a lot of studs and stars. And I want to touch on a key point. The whole going back to the athletic article. What about not stepping on other people's toes and letting them do their job to fulfillment? Zach, you're a businessman. I don't tell you how to run your business, right? I don't tell you to do that. Your job is to do your job. You coach, you're going to coach. Can I put input in? Of course, doesn't mean you have to take it. But when you're taking over other people's jobs and not letting them fulfill what they're there to do, you're going to see miserable. It's not going to look great. It's not going to look, flawless. And I know I've been harsh on Jonathan Gannon, and as rightly so. But because I wanted him to get a job last year, Zach, you don't know how badly I was pushing for it. I never pushed for
And he probably won't this year either. Shane Steichen was just hired as the Colts, or is expected to be hired as the Colts coach.
But Zach, it's all about not stepping on people's toes and letting them do what they're good at. Zach, like when everybody stays in their lane and does what they're supposed to do, and you let them fulfill them and flourish in their role, you get outcomes like this. But go ahead.
Well, it goes along the New England Patriots motto of do your job. Everybody needs to stay in their own lane. So, I mean, there's just a lot of things that are moving parts. This team overall is really well built. And I think really it's something that you have to consider. This has been the best team cover to cover all season long. I don't think there's been a debate about it. They were number one in the power rankings. They slipped to 2 and 3 after Hurts got injured. but they've been the best team in the NFL this year. And so I do want to talk quickly on their run in the playoffs. They've had divisional round was a walk through the park. I feel like everybody knew that. They kept their minds focused. They played a good game. And then last week they went out against San Francisco. And even with Brock Purdy getting hurt, they still hung 37 points, 31 points on the defense of San Francisco. So when all these guys are talking about the game would have been different if our quarterback was healthy, things like that. Well, I didn't realize that Brock Purdy was playing secondary and defensive line and linebacker and all of those and stopping the run. That's not what happened. The Eagles have been just the most, and I'm, you know me, Gavin, I'm not going to sit here and paint a rainbow colored glass for the Philadelphia Eagles. I call balls and strikes. I went off on the Eagles in 2020 and last year was very pessimistic about this team. Told you they'd get killed, but kicked in the nuts by the Bucs, which I knew that would happen. Now, this year, looking into it, I didn't have high expectations. I didn't know what to expect, but I knew there were a lot of pieces brewing. And if there's one thing that history has told me, as dominant as this team is, they continued that in the playoffs, and I expect them to continue that this afternoon. And I think that this is a team that doesn't get ahead of themselves, at least for now. We don't know how they're going to look next year, if there's going to be a Super Bowl hangover. It even applies to teams who don't end up winning but still making it to the big dance. Those are going to be some serious questions. We can worry about that after today. I'm not going to talking about the future. I'm not going to focus on that. What I will say is that this team, wire to wire, has been the best team in the NFL. I expect them to keep playing like that today. I'm not sure where the doubts come from. Again, the San Francisco 49ers are talking a little too much for me. I haven't heard a peep out of any Bengals' mouth. They lost, and they know they lost, and that game was even closer by a lot than it was between Philadelphia and San Francisco. So I think it's just one of those things where you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, they made all the right picks in the offseason. They had a really good coach installed, a really good O-line, really good D-line. They have veterans that have been in the Super Bowl. 8 players on this team were in the Super Bowl with them 5 years ago. That's an impressive amount to hold on to. This is a team that is experienced. This is a team that's been through it all. Jalen Hurts has had nothing short of experience between his experience with Alabama, Oklahoma, even last year as an Eagle when they went up against the Bucs in the first round of the playoffs. All of those experiences are what you're able to get and what you're able to have here today, and that's what has got them here. So overall, this has been a team, again, and I said this a few times, they've been the best team wire to wire. They're the favorite, so it's different. It's different than it was 5 years ago. They were the underdogs. Their quarterback got hurt. But overall, my thought process is that this team has been dominant, and they've been really good. And again, I'm not going to be biased and say just because I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan that I think they're going to be good, but I do believe there's a lot of reasons to believe that this team should play a very good game today, potentially good enough to win it.
It's like I just want to go back to the NFC Championship game, and everybody. So first of all, where is this disrespect coming from? I mean, Julian Love. I mean, you know what the funny thing is when I saw the Julian Love comments where he said, "Oh, Nick Sirianni can't do this." Didn't you get beat three times? And it wasn't even close. Maybe the second game was like I don't see this. And the San Francisco 49ers, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to say this on a Super Bowl Sunday. The Dallas Cowboys fans don't look that bad right now. I mean, I haven't heard from them. I mean, I don't know where they are. The San Francisco 49ers, thank you. Dude, I mean, if Brock Purdy was here, they keep saying, which quarterback are you talking about? Trey Lance? Are you talking about Jimmy Garoppolo? Are you talking about Brock Purdy? Like, if I thought Kyle Shanahan and this team was built to be some type of offensive juggernaut. It didn't matter who was back there. I could stand back there from what they made it seem. I mean, Zach, we all hear about how great Kyle Shanahan is, and I'm starting to put that into question because they're like, oh, the 49ers are built well. So if they're built well, why wasn't John Johnson or whoever the guy's name was being able to do what he was supposed to do? I mean, come on. And then the defense, right? The defense was there. Why is
They were healthy.
They were healthy. Zach, Fred Warner was caught flat-footed a lot of times on their options. You know why? Because Jalen Hurts is that effective that he didn't get a chance to go downhill. And we know Fred Warner is arguably one of the best linebackers in the game, correct?
I'd say he's probably top 5.
Top 5. So if he's flat-footed and then your pass rush meaning Nick Bosa, was just neutralized and your secondary is hot trash, I heard it all. Well, Devontae Smith wasn't really catch. Okay, so that's one play. Last time I checked, you guys. Exactly. One play. There's more than one play. There's 4 quarters. That happened early in the game. Another thing, too, Zach, is this team is built. It's giving me 2017 vibes. You remember when they made the trade for Jay Ajayi to get Alshon Jeffrey a help? The only good Alshon Jeffrey there was that year was just 1 year we had him. Then you have guys like Garrett Blunt too. Like I'm getting that type feeling. You make 1 to 2 good moves, which this year was AJ Brown and CJ Gardner Johnson and Hassan Reddick. Then you
Bradbury.
and I can't forget
Multiple. No, it was a
Just
legitimate
multiple.
amount of really good pickups this year.
That's how you come back. And then, ladies and gentlemen, to hear the schedule, I always hear about schedule this, schedule that. Didn't the Cowboys play the same players, like the same team? Like I'm confused. Didn't the Cowboys play the Minnesota Vikings? Weren't the Minnesota Vikings, I don't know, 10 and something? Like I don't get it. I really don't get where the doubt and the mistreatment and just the disrespect is coming from. And I hope that gets put the rest today, because at this point I don't know who else is Jalen has to beat. Like what else? It's like, is there somebody better than Jalen Hurts in the NFL right now? Not talking like MVP, because we know who won that, but he beat Aaron Rodgers. Even though you can say whatever you want about the season, he beat Kirk Cousins. Yeah, so what? It was on prime time, but that Vikings team still was good. He beat a Dallas team when he was there, and you could say, oh well, we didn't have this, but you guys are on a win streak. Then, like, I don't get where this is coming
Beat the
from.
Giants 3 times.
He beat the Giants 3 times, one with a bad shoulder. And Zach, he beat the supposedly number one defense in the San Francisco 49ers handily. Like, I don't understand what else he has to do. Same with Nick Sirianni. What does he have to do? Like, it's like, am I missing something here? Like, is there something that I'm not seeing? Am I blind?
I can't figure it out. I'm not. That's why I keep saying. And this one comment helps me out. This team is better than 2017. The 2017 team was good. They were. I mean, they won the Super Bowl. They were obviously the best team in the league. But they caught lightning in a bottle, I think. And that next few seasons kind of showed that. This team is just an all-around juggernaut. That team had a great O-line, great D-line, great quarterback play, and great play calling. The secondary was suspect. The linebackers were not good. Running backs after that season were really not here. And the wide receivers after that fell off pretty quickly. This team is young. It's a complete opposite of what it was in 2017. That was a group of old heads trying to get one last hurrah, which is what they did in the Super Bowl. And this time around, it's a bunch of young guys who are trying to get their first taste of it. So it's a very different vibe than 2017, but hopefully the same result.
And they all have their own individual awards. Like, Jalen Hurts is a national champion. People forget that. He wasn't benched because he was bad. He was benched for someone that was better than him at the moment. He still sits on the bench. He learns, and then he goes out and wins the national championship. He goes to Oklahoma and
last year won the SEC championship for them when Tua got hurt.
Exactly. He goes to Oklahoma and lights it up there. Then you got Devontae Smith. Like, I don't, once again, and let's just talk about this for a second. The Jalen Hurts, this has to end today. I don't care, win, lose, or draw. It ends today. This guy's a winner. This guy's mindset. If you heard what Michael Vick said, if I had his mindset right, if I had his mindset in when I was playing, I'd be champion too. His mindset is different. He's humble as all hell, and he does. It's like, yo, we're gonna take care of business regardless.
Moment's not too big for him.
Moment's never too big, and no disrespect to these guys too either. Davis and Dean just won too. Like, these guys are all winners, and they all have the dog mentality. That's the one thing that you can't not say about this team, this offense, this defense, is they all have dogs, and none of them try to shine brighter than the other.
When Jalen Reagor was drafted, you and I sat here, we talked about it. Just draft winners.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm sick and tired of drafting losers. No offense to TCU, but TCU was not on the map that year. Just draft winners, draft SEC. Just keep drafting SEC guys. Our whole team is SEC pretty much, it feels like now, with the exception of Sanders is Big Ten. But you go ahead and you look at a guy in Jalen Hurts who was SEC at first, Big 12 obviously at the end of his career there. A.J. Brown, Ole Miss, SEC. Devontae Smith, Alabama, SEC. Like, you just gotta draft winners, draft guys who are used to winning and know how to win. That is the difference between the draft approach that they've taken this year versus prior years. And you gotta give it to Howie Roseman. He's learned, he's adapted and overcome.
I mean, I hope he learned, because that was awful. Justin Jefferson won Offensive Player of the Year. Like, I hope he learned. I could put that the rest.
Another SEC guy.
Another SEC guy. Look, no disrespect to TCU, because they did go to the. I mean, they got destroyed. So they shouldn't have been there. But Zach, I know it's like taking the easy way out, but it's the easy way. Like, I know it's the easy way, but it makes sense. SEC games are basically junior NFL games. When Georgia and Alabama line up and meet against each other, guess what? That's like the closest thing you're gonna get to NFL and at collegiate level. They're always ready to come out and produce. All those guys. Jalen Waddle. You got Devontae Smith. Like, we just went through them all.
Jefferson, Jamar Chase.
Like, Joe Burrow. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. I understand you're trying to think outside the box and go get like a Jalen Reagor, which that's not even a first round pick. I don't think he did anything in Minnesota, and he's watching the person that should have been here. But Zach, it's just easy And another thing too about this defense, and I want to say, is that the future looks bright. As this comment says right here, Jordan Davis is learning from Fletcher Cox, Linval Joseph, Ndamukong Suh, and Javon Hargrave.
Four at some point, or some of them are still playing really well, elite players.
He was top 5 in stopping the run before he got hurt. Did you see that stat, Zach?
Once he got hurt, it was very bad run game. Now he's back. I mean, it's been great. He's doing his role. This team was very porous last year against the run. They fixed that this year with Jordan Davis.
Then they don't even know. You guys have a sideline to sideline middle linebacker waiting after this year. I keep trying to tell people about the N'Kobe Dean, buy into the hype. This guy, before he was hurt, Zach, because no one knew about it, he was rejected top 10. You remember that he was rejected top 10. Then they found he had the bicep or injury, and that dropped on the third round. That's a steal. That is a steal of the century.
Third round, right? Third round pick.
Third round, yes. You got Hassan Reddick, who is I don't know how he doesn't win defensive player of the year. They don't have 76.
I loved him when he was in Arizona. He's phenomenal.
He's disgusting. He was disgusting. Like, guys, this team has 70 sacks, right? The rotation is phenomenal. And Robert Quinn's here, and Josh Sweat. Like, don't forget, like this. You can like I can go through the whole
like the amount of guys, and a lot of stuff was done during the year. Sue came in during the year. Joseph came in during the year. Quinn came in during the year. Like, there's a lot of moves they made during the season that they've just gotten stronger. It just comes down, I think, and we'll get into the actual game plan after our break at the half-hour point. But I think that for this team, it comes down to the offense. It comes down to execution today.
And you had the right man leading it. Great things happen when number one is under center. I don't want to see Gardner Minshew at all unless we're up 50-7 and Gardner Minshew can come out there and throw his 5 yards little swing pass that he always do, and he can go that way. Look, another thing too about I once again I don't understand. Jalen Hurts not a good quarterback. Jalen Hurts can't do this. Jalen Hurts couldn't read the defense in year one, like his actual year playing. Then year two he started to understand. Then year three, look at him now. You give him a number one wide receiver. You got 2 1s on the outside.
Yep.
All right,
Dallas Goedert too.
And Dallas Goedert too. That's another guy. That's top 5 tight end. I'm being honest. That's top 5 tight end. But Zach, it's like everything that you say about this team, you could look at this team and say, well, where's the weakness? The only weakness could be themselves. The game where we were at in Washington, where they beat themselves, when we were standing there and we said, why is this game so bad? They kept fumbling the football. They're their own worst enemies. There's no other team in the NFL that I could say, oh, they can beat them. Unless they're beating themselves. Zach, we were there on a freezing Monday night where we were standing there and Quez Watkins gets the deep pass. He makes a man miss and then fumbles. Like, come on, man. Like, that's not even like
that's it. That's the only game they lost with Jalen Hurts this year is because they turned the ball over 3 times in the second half of the game.
Chicago looked rough. Houston looked rough. I'm not gonna lie. Those games look rough. But guess what? You survive. And here's another thing. This is how you know a team's really good when they find different ways to win a game. That game in Indiana looked miserable offensively. Jalen Hurts took the ball in his own hands, but the defense kept them in there. Like, Indiana wasn't bad. They kept the games close. They wasn't getting blown out. But games like that, then you look at the Dallas game where they could have won. Gardner Minshew came out looking phenomenal. He looked phenomenal. Should have won that game. They should have won that game. They could have won the New Orleans game too. Just unfortunate circumstances. Then you go to Chicago, Jalen Hurts gets hurt, but you still win the game. Like, they found every way to win that you could think of. If they blown teams out, they won by defense. They won in the trenches. They run in rain. Remember the rain game versus Jacksonville this year?
Yep.
They won in terrible elements. They won
14-0 in horrible conditions.
I don't know what else to say. Hurts is a winner. That should be the title of today's episode. Hurts is just a winner. If he wins today, I don't want to hear nothing about Jalen Hurts no more. And it's hard not to like the guy, by the way. It's hard not to like him. It's like Dak Prescott. I don't like the Cowboys, but you can't hate Dak Prescott.
No, he's not a good quarterback, but I get what you're saying.
He's not good. I'm just saying, but like, he's like a likable person. Like, if you look at number one on the birds and you say, and you're like, he got me really questioning my own team. But like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just a likable person. He does it all. He'll do it all.
He's done what he's needed to. And people forget the Eagles lost 1 game this year with Hurts a quarterback. The other 2 games where everybody's starting to doubt, well, are the Eagles really this good? Gardner Minshew was the quarterback then. So nothing against Gardner, but he wasn't Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has had an amazing impact on the team this year. They've done a phenomenal job, I think, really overall, developing him as a quarterback. The big difference for him is his arm strength is still not there. He's still underthrown a lot of balls this year, but his intelligence is better. He's able to read defenses, able to look at where he needs to go. Catch him to throw it deep downfield, not necessarily. He's occasionally good for it, but he's been either launching it too far or comes up short on the ball, and his receivers have to come back to it. So there are issues. There's issues we can acknowledge. He's not perfect. His offense is not perfect. We do have a fumbling issue, especially with Miles Sanders. We need to really focus on what matters today. We need to stay to the fundamentals, and the Eagles need to do what they can in order to ensure that they can avoid that. The key is to jump up to an early lead, and you got to hold it. That's how they've won most of their games this year. They've starved other teams of life. They've knocked the life out of other teams. It's what they did against San Francisco. It's what they did against New York. It's what they are going to have to attempt to do today.
What did Jonathan Gannon say? I can't say the full thing, but we're going to gut them. Is that what he said?
Pretty much along those lines. That's how you have to start it. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. We'll get to the game plan for everything today. But just to wrap up the season as a whole and the last 2-3 years, it's very difficult to measure risk in the NFL. It's difficult in any facet of life. But the Philadelphia Eagles measured risk with the 53rd overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft. They selected Jalen Hurts out of Oklahoma. Nobody understood that pick whatsoever. At least we didn't understand it. We sat here and talked about it. Howie Roseman spoke about it like quarterback is the most important position in the league. Why not have depth at that position? Never intended to replace Carson Wentz. Wentz obviously self-destructed. The Eagles still were trying to stick with Wentz. They fired Peterson for Wentz and brought in Nick Sirianni from Indianapolis to try to create that Frank Reich-like environment. And unfortunately, it just didn't phase out. It's what happens in the league. Cut your ties when you can. They ate a pretty big dead cap, which compared to the Jared Goff trade actually doesn't look like too much. So overall, I told you this, Gavin, 3 years ago when we started the show. I said Howie Roseman might not be the best at acquiring talent, but if there's one thing he's really good at, it's manipulating contracts, converting contracts to signing bonuses, getting us under the cap, and keeping us under control. The Eagles are in a really good cap spot after this season to continue making some big signings. There's a lot of guys you have to pay. We'll talk about that when that time comes in the offseason. Right now, the focus is on the Super Bowl. So, Gavin, is there anything else you wanted to say to recap the season before we dive into the game plan for today and predictions?
Real quick, I'm going to take it back. It's like, remember the Sports Big Club back in Ruston? You know what I'm saying? But,
of course.
shout out to all the guys in there. Remember when I said the Eagles are going to take Jalen Hurts? I want him here, and everybody looked at me like I had 3 different heads, and everybody was kind of giving it this, and then Dr. Nardi looked at me crazy and everybody, and I said, no, I'm like, he'll be an Eagle. Fast forward, he was an Eagle, and then what did I say after? I said, yo, he's going to take us places. It's dog mentality. No one wanted to hear it. It's like I remember you saying, he'll be nice. Look where we are now.
It's hard to tell. You extend your quarterback in the offseason. He stayed healthy for the whole season. Obviously had a concussion against Seattle, but something you can't control. It was something unpredictable. We thought we had our franchise guy, second overall pick, invested a lot into him, and a lot just went south for him. But the Eagles, they knew something more than we did, and that was in the Jalen Hurts pick. We're thrilled to have that. Before we do go to break, we do have this one question to answer. Gavin, I'll let you start off with it.
No, I don't think he takes a maximum. I think he takes like 25 a year, something respectable that keeps him, keep it fair. He realized he needs people around. That's the NFL. Zach, we talked about this. When your quarterback doesn't take a lot of money on the team and you can continue to build people around him, you'll win more. Simple. Tom Brady did the hometown discount. They were able to keep, pieces that worked that did their job around him. How many Super Bowls does he have, ladies and gentlemen? So no, I don't think he takes the maximum. I think he takes, a fair amount. I think they continue to build. And who knows? Daniel last year said dynasty. I gotta see another Super Bowl before I said that. What you think?
I'm going to disagree. I think that he will take a high contract. I think it'll be probably a 10-year, $500+ million deal, similar to Mahomes. He'll definitely break the $50 million a year barrier. It's not in the team's best interest, but the team will offer it to him. And here's why. The NFL, as we saw during the season, your career can be over in a flash of a light, and almost your life can be taken in a very quick circumstance. These guys need to take care of themselves. Yeah, $25 million a year would be very much beyond enough to take care of yourself. But he's going to take the big contract because you never know when that one hit could come. I agree with Gavin. We need to protect the cap in order to do that. So they might push it off to year 4 or 5 where he starts getting big money on that contract. But it's going to be a record-breaking contract. And Kansas City is doing it. And we'll talk about them in a minute because I'm not overly impressed with their talent. But a great quarterback for them has overcome poorer talent after losing Tyreek Hill, after not really having a running back consistently all season long. And he's on a pretty fat contract. So I do think he's going to be the highest paid QB in the NFL if Lamar doesn't break that next year after the franchise tag, if he decides to play on it. I hate to say it, but I mean, Jalen's probably earned the money. I'm not huge on paying too much, but if there is a position to pay it at, it's going to be quarterback.
I'm gonna just say this before we go to break, Zach. If Ben Simmons got the contract he deserves, and he don't deserve half that, so
Yeah, Brooklyn's they're not doing too well no more. So
we'll talk basketball another day. But
yeah. All right, stay tuned. After this, we're going to discuss game plan for today, the keys to success for both teams, and we'll wrap it up with predictions. Stay tuned. Would you like to know how you can support the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show? If so, head down to the comments on our YouTube channel. You will see 2 links there. The first is our Teespring, where you can see a wide variety of apparel products, including our signature product, the More Than Philly Sports Talk Show sweatshirts, offered in a variety of different colors, including gray, navy blue, and more. Finally, we have our Patreon page, where you can become a monthly donation member. 10% of all donations go towards an organization of our viewers' choice. We hope that you enjoyed today's episode, and if you can't donate, that's okay, because you can always share this. A lot of big things on tap. I know we talk about it a lot. I know the last year has been a little difficult in terms of getting behind the screen, but Gavin, we're staying pretty active. We're maintaining what we can, and we have a couple things coming up here in the future that we're going to discuss, potentially some in-person collaborations on the camera. Stay tuned. Keep sticking with us. I promise it'll continue to shape up. We have a lot of things that we've been working on. We've narrowed that down to a couple of things we're going to focus on here in 2023, especially with the success of Philly sports. It's much more fun to be reporting on it than we were a few years ago, so we must do our viewers justice to make sure that we continue to provide some of the highest quality Philly sports, unbiased and biased content out there. So, Gavin, I'll hand it off to you before we kind of get into predictions for today. The
future's going to look bright, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, Zach has a lot of great things going on. For those who don't know, I am on a radio station at our school every Thursday at 5 to 6 now with my partner. Zach, we do got to get you in there, though. So I will have to figure that out.
Let me know.
That was easy. We just slide by one day. I'll have to talk to my partner and get you all in. But, the future looks bright, and we got a lot of great things, coming out. I know we always say this, but trust me, we're working on it. Just got to find the time, to do it. But Philadelphia, that's what I'm going to start calling it now. Even though they haven't won, the Phillies didn't win and the Union didn't win. It's all about just going, being there. And I want to address this one comment before we move on. It's Howie. It's Howie. It's not Howard. It's Howie. Welcome back to the club.
Good.
Welcome back. I
have a sound effect for that one.
Well, if we could have like a floating Howie come across it,
wouldn't that be great? I'm gonna have to get to work on that. The Weasel used to call him. Who used to call him that? Somebody called him that years ago. No, it was like a famous guy that called him. Was it Alshon? No, it was a player. It was a former player calling him like that weasel or something. There's a lot of. A lot of names. No reason to go into it yet. But let's talk about it. Super Bowl pregame is here. We just recapped the season as much as we could. Today's going to be a very good game. Eagles are favorited by 1.5 points. It is a home game technically for Philadelphia. Not that it matters. Betting doesn't matter either, but they will be the home team, meaning the Kansas City Chiefs will get to call the coin toss today. Don't remember who's singing the national anthem, but I know Rihanna will be doing the halftime show. Commercial should be good. I'm looking forward to the Burger King commercial. I can only imagine what more they can bring into it. Again, for a sports fan whose team is in the Super Bowl, we don't expect to be paying attention to some of those things, but it's still the biggest event of the year. It's still the biggest event of the year for people to watch. And I did see something funny this morning. And Gavin, I'll let it get to you. Somebody I was talking about, like the Super Bowl and how much he hates it. And I actually kind of agree. I hate the Super Bowl too, because you have all these fake fans who come over. They're all standing in front of the TV with their cake and their food, and they're talking to you during the game. You're trying to pay attention. The only time they're quiet, the only time they're focused is during the commercials. They want to watch the commercials.
Oh, that's what they care about.
And once the game's back, they're talking again. So I'm like, shut up. I'm watching the game. I don't care if it's the Rams and the Bengals or if it's the Eagles and the Patriots or the Chiefs. I want to watch the game. I don't want to hear you talk about, what do you think of that Doritos commercial? I don't care. I forgot what King's profanity on the show, but I don't care. Like, people, don't do that. Watch the game. You can watch the commercials too. I mean, it's the only event of the year that you can actually watch every second of and be entertained.
So there is a person that would probably agree with you the same way. I got a question. Are you having people over today, or is it just,
just my family?
Just family? All Eagles fans?
All Eagles fans. Only Eagles fans in my house.
Drop.
I had a Cowboys fan ask if we're doing anything for the Super Bowl, and I say, hell no, I ain't doing nothing with him. Like Cowboys fan,
Cowboys fans ask what they're doing for the Super Bowl.
they ain't doing nothing.
You're not invited.
No.
Simple.
What time are the Cowboys on today?
They haven't been.
What time we put the 1990s mixtape in for the
They
Cowboys?
haven't been invited since 1995.
Exactly.
Haven't been invited. But no, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. I wanted to talk a little bit about the actual game itself. We already went over some of the other things for it. Some cool bets. What colors the Gatorade going to be? How long's the national anthem going to be? Those are all the fun side bets. I have to set up my prop bets later so I can plug them in, Gavin. I'll have to share them with you because they're usually pretty fun. But let's talk about it. 6:30 tonight kickoff. If the Chiefs win the coin toss, we expect them to defer. We kind of like that. Eagles have been getting the ball and scoring quickly. So I'll talk about my keys to success for both teams. I'll start with Philadelphia. Score quickly, get up early, and contain Mahomes. Eagles have had an issue all year with scrambling quarterbacks, getting out of the pocket and just getting first downs when they need them. Third down especially. Keep Mahomes in the pocket, force him to make the throws. Running game for them should be non-existent. I expect the Eagles to shut down the run, make them throw the ball, stop Kelsey. That's what the key is for the Eagles to be able to win today. For Kansas City on the other side to win this game, similar concept. You got to contain Jalen Hurts. You just got to score. Get downfield, get it open to your receivers. People other than Kelsey are going to have to make plays today. Obviously, he's going to want to go to Kelsey, a couple screens here and there. But, I mean, Smith-Schuster's going to be out there. I believe Kadarius Toney's healthy. You're just trying to get it out to those guys and keep them involved in the game, working in between, underneath. A lot of zone defense the Eagles run, so they're going to need to take advantage of that and exploit it. Over the top is going to be tough in this kind of coverage. But when the opportunity presents itself to try to challenge them, it's tough with no Tyreek Hill. You have a couple other guys that just have not been able to fill his shoes. But if someone gets loose downfield, I trust Mahomes can make the throw.
Well, first of all, isn't Mahomes still hobbled? I know the ankle is probably a little
bit.
Still
not 100%.
So I don't really expect him to. I mean, he was hobbling after a while. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, 2 weeks rest. Yeah, but it's cool. The rest is cool until you actually have to run full speed again. So we'll see that. My key to success are easy. Make someone other than Travis Kelsey beat you. It's simple. Zach, they don't have. I want to say nobody because I gotta see the injury report. I don't know if it's out yet. But last time I checked, Miko Hardman might not play. Juju Smith-Schuster was banged up. I think he was full participant. I think Kadarius Toney was banged up as well. These guys aren't healthy, and that's weapons. The only healthy guy there is Travis Kelsey, and I think he was dealing with a back injury going into the AFC Championship game. If I'm not wrong, this offense is not healthy. Isaiah Pacheco, he's cool, he's nice. You know, he was my fantasy running back. Didn't really do nothing for me until the end of the season when I was already out. Zach, you could shut that down easily. Another thing too is the Eagles defense just don't play lackadaisical. Be on top, be on your A game, be ready, get after the quarterback like you always do. Don't give any opportunity or any little room because Mahomes is that quarterback that he will. Any weakness you give him, he'll exploit that and he'll beat you with it. The linebacker's going to be, full all day with Travis Kelsey going over the middle. I gotta see better offensively for the Eagles. Just no turnovers. Don't beat yourself. And don't try to get cute with what you're doing. We've seen that. If you can take three, take three. If you want to go for on your 4th and 1, let's have 91, 92.1%. It works. But the QB sneak.
That's going to be the key. There's going to be pivotal points today where the QB sneak is going to be needed. Eagles are going to have to be able to execute, and Chiefs are going to have to try to stop it. I'm sure they practiced that a lot this week, both sides.
Of course. But Zach, it's just don't be cute. Don't do it and take your points. I like when Nick goes for, on 4th and 5, he'll go for it. But if you're in field goal range, take your points. Every point matters in this game. It's about trying to keep the lead and going and make sure you score quick and don't do what you did early in the season when you went missing for the second quarter. You got to be in all 4 quarters of the game because the Chiefs is a team that they can win a shootout. We've seen it before. We've seen it happen a couple years ago. Haven't saw that. Another key for me, if you're the Chiefs, if you want to win this game, is you got to somehow control the RPO. You got to keep Jalen Hurts in the pocket. You got to let him beat you with his arm. His shoulder might not be 100%. Zach, there's a lot of elements to this game, but I just don't know because the secondary of the Chiefs, you can say the same thing. They're not great. They don't have the Will Man and Tyrann Mathieu. The pass rushes, it's cool. Chris Jones, Frank Clark.
Chris Jones had a great year, but that's really all they have.
That's all they have. Frank Clark is nice. He's a nice piece, and the middle linebacker is not that. So it's going to be interesting to watch. I feel like the Eagles have the better roster all around, and they are healthier coming into this game, but we'll have to see. It doesn't matter until kickoff.
Yeah, I'd say. I mean, Eagles better roster overall. Definitely would give the Chiefs the better quarterback play. It's not a huge
I don't
difference.
know. I don't
It's
know.
definitely there, even with Mahomes being a little banged up. Coaching, I have to give it to Kansas City. It's by a smidge. So the question is our roster good enough to overcome that? And that's where essentially the major question is going to be today. Things like the QB sneak are going to be pivotal. Things like third down, getting the Chiefs off the field are going to be crucial. So Gavin, I mean, just all of those, just kind of reading through some of the stats on my side. Again, -1.5 is the line today. Eagles are the betting favorite. It's different. It's a different feeling when you have a team that is the favorite because you kind of are expecting everybody to count you out. Philly's been counted out all year, but somehow here they are being the favorite by a lot of the bettors. So the final question that I have moving forward is the predictions, score predictions. Can the Eagles actually pull this off today?
They can, and they will. Zach, this Eagles team has went through battle tested. We hear all the talk, and you know what they say when you talk, a lot, words I can't say. It just makes the person you're talking about be even better. And the Kansas City Chiefs aren't really talking, it's outsiders. That makes it worse. We see what happened when the Bengals mayor got involved, or not the Bengals mayor, excuse me, the mayor of Cincinnati got involved, and they're not, and they're at home. Can the Eagles pull this out? Of course. They're going to pull it out. You got the whole city behind you. Remember, Eagles fans, they travel. I expect to see a lot of green in the stadium. I expect Philly to be. If you live in Philly, I feel bad for you because it's going to be wild tonight.
For Broad Street tonight. I hope nobody's
Are
driving.
you going? Will you be on the top of the pole? Well, I see you climbing a pole. Was Zach?
I will be home watching fireworks, popping champagne, and smoking cigars if they win.
Okay, I tried, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to see if Zach was going to climb a greasy pole, but
I was down there last time, but we
oh,
headed out.
you were down there.
We stayed for the trophy for the NFC Championship. We stayed for the trophy celebration. We were out after that. I saw Stefan too, by the way. I saw him walking out.
Stefan?
Give him a big hug. I'm like, yeah, what's up, man? Saw him. I saw Will. I saw all of our friends from high school working for the Eagles.
But Zach, my question:
They better give them rings.
I think staff people do get rings, so they get something.
Do they get rings? I think
I don't
they
think they get a
might.
ring. I think they get a bonus, maybe.
I hope so. I'll have to ask Stefan. That'd be awesome.
I did ask about.
I'm
But
gonna have to
Zach,
see him in person. Yeah,
Zach,
we got to get there first. Got to get there.
gotta get there first. We get a little ahead of us, but can the Eagles win? Yes, I believe so.
It's going to be close. It's going to be tough. I think Mahomes is just. I think that the Chiefs have just a really. You can't count them out. I think the Eagles have the more talented roster. I think the Chiefs have a little bit more experience. It's just hard to find who Mahomes is going to throw to. That's my only thing that keeps me from choosing Kansas City today. I can't see who they're going to throw to. Eagles defense is too good. It'll be a moderate scoring game. I think the Eagles end up winning it 31-28. Late field goal from Jake Elliott puts them on top. So I'll take Philadelphia today.
I mean, even if the team is ready, like even if they're not ready, like Zach, just think about this for a second. A team we did not expect them to be here at all. They're here. They're ready. They got a mindset of dog mentality. I'm expecting a great game, regardless as a shootout, as a close one. I don't care. Just get the job done any means possible. AMP.
I hope so. I think they definitely can pull it off. It's going to be a great game. It comes down to pivotal moments. I think that both teams are capable of scoring in a hot flash. I think that it needs to be in pivotal moments. Fourth and short, what decision making is Sirianni making? That's really where the whole thing is going to come from. And overall, it's just what can they do to overcome it? And turnovers. And that's really the biggest part for me for the Eagles. That's the only thing that's been an issue for them in the game they lost this year with Jalen Hurts as quarterback. It was turnovers. I think Hurts has the right mindset to play. I think they're all in the right mindset going into this. Nobody's too cocky. No one's going into it thinking that they're going to be too dominant. I think that media day and all of that, Radio Row interviews and everything like that was handled very well by the entire organization. They've done a great job to this point. They got to finish the job today.
Get the job done. Now, Zach, I want to ask you this question because we all know MVP Super Bowl MVP. Then you got highlights and highlight player and all that stuff. So, what's your score prediction? Who's your Super Bowl MVP and who's the player to watch?
Right. So I'm sticking with the prediction 31-28. I'm going to, if the Eagles win, I think Jalen Hurts is definitely going to be Super Bowl MVP. It's hard to pick against the quarterback. It's been a long time since. I think last time it was Cup last year.
Cooper
Was
Cup.
Cup last year?
Yeah, Cooper
So it
Cup.
was Cup last year. It wasn't Stafford. And before that, it was Julian Edelman. The year after the Eagles won the Super Bowl. So definitely think it's going to be Hurts. Player to watch today. I'm going to go with Kadarius Toney. I think somebody is going to need to be there for Mahomes. And if Kadarius Toney has a great day, it's going to be Chiefs.
I'm going with 31, 31-21. I'm going with 31-21. Maybe 31-28. I'm riding with you. 31-28. I gotta give respect to Mahomes.
Lock it in. I'll
I'm
put it
like
in.
Super Bowl MVP. That's tough because it's kind of hard to be at the quarterback. I'm going to roll with. I guess I have to roll with Jalen Hurts with you. But my highlight player to watch, AJ Brown. It's time. He hasn't gotten a touchdown all playoff long. He's been kind of silent. Devontae Smith has had his. Dallas Guy got his. AJ Brown 2 touchdowns today, and maybe we'll give him a chance at the Super Bowl MVP. But AJ Brown's my highlight player to watch.
Who's your most pivotal player on Kansas City to watch?
See, it's easy to say Travis Kelce. I'm gonna go Travis Kelce. That's the safety blanket. We all know that he's gonna be public enemy number 1 for the Eagles. But I still think that it's him. It's him. It's not Kadarius Toney. I'm sorry. When in doubt, you find your safety right. Like Lamar
If he's
Jackson,
open, that's the question. Can he
he's
get open?
always open. I think he's always open. Like Travis, even when you think Travis Kelce can't make anything happen, he will. I'm going with Travis Kelce as the guy to watch. Public enemy number 1.
All right, we'll see what happens. Definitely going to be an interesting one today. I almost said game 1 because I know for the World Series, but Super Bowl, the game, only game you get. You get one chance, 4 quarters, 60 minutes, as Malcolm Jenkins had said. Gavin, who's walking out with the Eagles today? You want Lil Uzi again?
No, why was that even an option the first time?
He might be there again. They're loving his music. I mean, that's been their anthem this playoff.
Well, they should really ask the Phillies near where, because I don't know who started Taylor Swift on whatever song it was. Anyway, who's walking? I think it has to be either Kevin Hart or Meek Mill. You gotta go icon. You gotta think big. I'm going with either Kevin Hart or Meek Mill are walking out today with the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, let's see. Should be electric. I'll just
What do you think? How about you?
I think Lil Uzi's walking out with them again because he walked out with them last week. So and they're playing his music to come out too. Not using Dreams and Nightmares this year, unfortunately, but that's reserved.
They come out with Just Wanna Rock. I might be upset because that's not a hype song. That's not. It's not, Phillies. It's not.
No, New England came out to Crazy Train like 7 years in a row, so it could be worse.
See, we got Kevin Hart.
I'm fine with that. I if I was making the decision,
it's going to be one small man versus a bunch of tall trees. So I don't know. They might be leading.
Lil Uzi, it's not any different. Give me Kevin Hart with the Chase Freedom Rewards card. Get your cash back, Chase.
Cash back, America.
They should pay us to sponsor that. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for staying tuned today. We're wrapping here, getting on the 50th minute of the show. I got to say, I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great game. Really take it in, everybody. Don't work yourselves too much before the game. Don't eat too much before the game so you can focus on it.
What's on the menu? What's on the menu today? Sorry.
What's on the menu? Wings, and I think we're getting cheesesteak egg rolls from one of the local restaurants around here. So I'm not cooking anything too crazy today because I want to focus on the game. But made some healthy French toast this morning, so that'll be on my cooking story soon.
Hold on, Harrison. I know you in the comments. What's on the menu for tonight? Because this is happening. This is going to happen.
You haven't seen something good today. You better be getting something good.
I think he's cooking something. What's on the menu? He said something about. I don't want to get it wrong. I want him to speak for himself.
Is anything as good as your New York City barbecue though?
If he's making barbecue, yes, it will be.
I was up there for Labor Day, and there was another place. It wasn't like a gourmet restaurant. It was in the the area where we were, where we could see the oxtail, where you can see the Statue of Liberty and the World Trade Center behind you. In that complex, there's a barbecue place that we went to, which is pretty good. Sounds good so far. I might be coming over after the game, Gavin, and stealing some.
Hold on. I'm not done. I'm just
Yeah, I'm
Yo,
gonna,
those right
I'm
there,
gonna be there.
right
Yeah,
there,
right here.
right there. My mom is been say,
Yeah, I'll be there.
no, no, no,
I'll
no,
be
no,
stealing.
no,
I'll
no,
be
no,
stealing
no, no.
food. I'll
This
be there
right
at 2
here.
in the morning. I'm gonna climb poles and come back to Gavin's
The
house.
time
Grease
say,
the poles. Grease Philly. I'll be there after the game.
yo, you want to know something? Every time they do that, it always rains.
When the grease the poles.
Yeah, it always rains. Phillies, all that, always rains. This is right here, Zach. That's all I need.
What is the weather today? Are those good?
Those are phenomenal. They're phenomenal.
You better send me some pictures.
I will.
It's gonna rain today.
Let me-
Yeah, it might rain tonight. It's not stopping anybody from going into Philly, getting on Broad Street.
Nope, not at all. All right, everybody.
Everybody, stay tuned all week. We'll start announcing some things. We'll start getting a little more active on here. Gavin and I will meet up this week. We do have a spot that we can do some recordings from in person, which I think would be really cool. If we get an hour or two, a couple times a week. Other than that, let's go Eagles. Let's get this win today, and we'll talk to you all soon.
Go Birds. The whole city of
Go
Philly's
Birds.
ready.
We
We're gonna
got
go
it.
crazy. We're gonna go crazy. I'm done. Have a good one, everybody. Stay safe.
Go Birds. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. In addition, hit that bell icon and set it to all to get reminded of when we go live and when we post excerpts of our videos.